Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining in to the second episode of Hot Routes. My name is Jordan Artzy, and I'm the editor-in-chief of SportsRoutes.com. I will be your host and moderator of this podcast. I would also like to introduce you to my panel members. Today we have Christian Douglas, one of our NFL analysts, and we also have Pablo Rosero, our lead writer.
Hello.
Hot Routes is a series where two writers or special guests will join in on the hot seat and debate as many topics about sports. The contestants have not seen these questions and will be expected to answer these questions on their feet. Although we were doing something a little bit differently. After I ask my main questions, we're going to have the two panel members ask their own questions. I have not even seen their questions. It was decided that Christian will go first. A winner will be decided by the audience in a poll in the description down below on sportsroots.com. And also, today's episode will gravitate more towards the NBA playoffs and as well as some other things related to the NFL draft. Some quick rules: make sure to keep the discussion civil and make sure not to insult someone's personality, things like that. Make sure to only insult their arguments. And the way this works is first I will ask a question, then the person may present their case. The next person presents their case, and then after they may rebut. During the rebuttal, they may interrupt each other. And then no direct cursing, like I said. And also, finally, a quick reminder, make sure to follow us on Twitter at SportsRoutes1. Our Instagram is SportsRoutes. And make sure to read our articles to get the latest in-depth analysis at sportsroots.com. So I'm going to ask my first question, and this is going to be towards Christian. So, Giannis Antetokounmpo had a monster performance in Game 1. How far do you see the Bucks going in the East?
I actually have them going pretty far in the East. I think they might end up with a high seed. And it's when people think of the Bucks, they just think of Giannis. I think they have a lot of talent on their team with, Thon Maker, Jabari Parker, just players off the top of my head that are doing really good. And they're both very young. All three of them are very young. I think, obviously, Giannis is the best player on this team. I think he adds an element that maybe LeBron did in his early years with the Cavaliers. I think he has the advantage of he doesn't have to carry the team like LeBron did. I think he has pieces around him that can carry the load for him, and I think they can go far. Especially that they're young, I think they can go farther in later years.
Definitely. Pablo, you want to add to that?
I agree with what he said on Antetokounmpo's in AGP. He is basically what we expect from superstars nowadays, seeing what Russell Westbrook and James Harden and LeBron can do for their teams, just all-around athletes who can do everything. Giannis obviously has the added bonus of being 6'11", being able to handle the ball, playing point guard, and cover big men also.
Yeah, I'd like to add to that. With the physical attribute I didn't really mention, he is called Giannis, Greek freak for a reason. I mean, as he said, he's 6'11". Some people might speculate he's a 7-footer that can pass like no other. I think, obviously, I compared him to LeBron James. I think that's a perfect comparison. A taller LeBron James, a quicker LeBron James, not as physical in the paint, but I think he brings a physical side to his game that a lot of people can't bring.
So, Pablo, let me add to the actual question. While it was good to talk about Giannis, and he did have a great game, where do you see them ending up in the Eastern Conference? Do you think they go all the way or no?
And it's hard to comment on that, mostly only after seeing one game. Toronto struggled today. Kyle Lowry had 2 points, going 1 for either 11 or 12 from the field. And, it's just, obviously they had a great defensive game. They held Toronto to only 32 points in the second half. But can they keep it up? We'll see. They're a very young team. Toronto obviously made it to the Eastern Conference Finals last season. But we know they have the talent. And Toronto will not go out without a fight. This game could clearly go to 7 games. I think if besides the Wizards matchup, the Wizards-Hawks matchup, this one could clearly go to 7.
All right. Anything you'd like to add to that?
Yeah, I think with the East, as they stand, I think it's going to be hard to beat the Bucks. I think it's honestly they have enough talent and they're so young that it just for the East it makes it very scary later on. I think teams in the East should be worried about the Bucks.
All right, so let's move on to the next question. This is a question about the draft. Now, it's a little too early, I agree, to talk about it, but this is kind of a very broad, very general question, and this will be directed towards Pablo first. Do you think this NBA draft will be more of a best available for teams or more of a team need?
This NBA draft, is an extremely deep draft where even at 15, which is post lottery teams, you could get a tremendous player who can impact your team. You have there's just so much talent. They're saying that this draft could be better depth-wise than the 2003 draft, which featured LeBron James, Carmelo Anthony, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh. And yeah, you just have guys who in the top 10, who are the top 10 prospects that in any other year could have been in the top 5. So you're just looking at it like that. Extremely deep draft. You have to go with need plus best available.
You'd say it's more of a both sort of thing?
It's a both. It's usually in most drafts it's 50-50. This one probably more than most.
All right.
With this draft class, I think it is. For the most part, I think it's best, top need, because I don't see any of the top picks projected wise. We obviously don't know for sure, but I think obviously the highest projected is Boston to be number 1. I think they have the highest percentage to be number 1. I think if they were to go number 1, as you said, team need wouldn't be an option because the top 2 prospects in this draft are Markelle Fultz and rising prospect Lonzo Ball. I think with them having MVP candidate Isaiah Thomas, I don't think they need any of these 2 players. I think they might take Lonzo Ball and maybe do some trades. I think also the Lakers have their point guard in D'Angelo Russell, but obviously if they were to get a projected top 3 pick, their eyes would be set on Lonzo Ball, a point guard.
I disagree. In an article I wrote comparing the potential matchup of Markelle Fultz for the Celtics and Lonzo Ball for the Lakers, I wrote that Markelle Fultz, a 6'4" guard out of the University of Washington, clearly is the best player in this draft, could go number 1 to the Celtics, and he's a player who doesn't need the ball in his hands to produce. He's an amazing scorer, so definitely with the number 1 pick, they go for him. If they really felt that way, as what he said, getting Lonzo Ball and trading, they would have just traded that pick for Paul George or Blake Griffin. So I completely disagree with that. And there are facts that back it up. They value that pick. They see Markelle Fultz as a top player to help their franchise going forward.
I honestly, I have to disagree with you. It's not a bad point. It's just I think their best option would to go with Lonzo Ball, and
definitely not.
With drafts, it's not to keep him.
I'm going to tell you why though. Why they shouldn't go with Lonzo Ball. Lonzo Ball is a playmaker who needs the ball in his hand. You have Isaiah Thomas, who's 5'8", can only play point guard. Obviously, he's an amazing shooter, but he's still 5'8". You need him on the ball at all times. Markelle Fultz can play without the ball, and he plays without the ball better than Lonzo Ball. So there's no way they would trade that pick. They would draft Lonzo Ball and trade it because, like I said before, if they really felt that way about that pick, they would have just traded it for Paul George or they would have traded it for Blake Griffin.
So your argument is that they keep Markelle Fultz?
Yes.
There'd be no need.
There is completely a need.
If they have Isaiah Thomas,
yeah.
Even their backup is Marcus Smart, which is great.
As I said before,
so put him as shooting guard.
Yes, you play him as shooting guard. Avery Bradley's contract ends in 2 seasons. Markelle Fultz could easily take his place as the starter. Avery Bradley is better suited to play as a 6-man. He's an amazing 3-and-D player. Markelle Fultz is the whole package. This kid is the future, not only of the Celtics if they take him, but of the entire NBA.
Yeah,
strong take.
I'd have to disagree. I think Avery Bradley adds a defensive aspect that Markelle Fultz cannot offer. I know they need scoring.
No, Markelle Fultz is a great defender. He's an all-around
prospect. Better than Avery Bradley at defense at this moment.
You can teach defense, obviously not at this moment because it's different levels.
I'm saying But
Lonzo.
I think they'd get more. I think they get more value if they were to either trade down or draft.
So let
and
me
trade.
ask you this: if you're saying trade down, why don't you trade the pick away at the trade deadline for Paul George or Blake Griffin and win now, which is clearly what they want. They're the first seed. If they didn't value that pick as much as they did, they would have traded it for Paul George, who's a phenomenal player, definitely a top 10 player in this league. That's where I would have to disagree with you.
Because I think they would get more value if they were to not go that route. And
So you're saying there's something more valuable than Paul George.
Okay, let's do this.
What's more valuable than Paul George that's available?
Let's do this. If obviously Lakers want Lonzo Ball, clearly they want Lonzo Ball. Okay, just listen. If they want Lonzo Ball, so let's say at the nearest they could trade him, they get D'Angelo Russell, a shooting guard, the point guard. He can move to the 2. He goes to the 2. He adds a scoring that they don't have. Maybe they add somebody else.
Isaiah
That gets
Thomas
in
was
the
second in
draft
points per
pick.
game in the league.
Okay,
They don't have scoring. Isaiah Thomas is second in points per game.
that's one player. They're not bad at scoring. I'm saying if they add another scoring option, it makes them at more depth because they just picked up. They not just picked up. They drafted Jaylen Brown. They have Jay Crowder. They have Amir Johnson. I think the best for them to do is put Al Horford at the center and trade down to a lower pick. Maybe get a Josh Jackson that they can move to the power forward.
Josh Jackson's a top 3 pick.
Trade down.
Trade down from 1 to 2 instead of just taking him with the first overall pick.
Exactly.
So you're telling me instead of getting a top 10, solidified top 10 player in Paul George, you just trade down to get uncertainty at
Because I
Josh
think
Jackson.
they can get more
What's more than Paul George?
picks and a player.
They already have too many picks. They have an abundance of picks.
So you can have too many picks.
Yes. That's the issue they had.
I've never heard a team say I have too many picks. Even with those picks, if they get that many picks at the deadline, they can have more value. They could trade for a player
Okay, but
like Paul George.
The Celtics, then if you're saying that, then why didn't they do it with this pick?
So what I'm saying is you think that Markelle Fultz, how tall is he?
6'4".
6'4". Put him on this team.
Place him at starting shooting guard.
At starting shooting guard.
And he'll be an NBA stud.
At starting shooting guard would be the best option.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, you're crazy. If they were to trade with the Lakers, most likely they're getting the number 1 pick. If they don't, then we're having a whole different discussion.
What would be the point of trading with the Lakers of going from 1 to 3?
Yeah, that's
The
actually.
Lakers taking Lonzo
then getting a player.
Listen.
The Lakers would trade a lot to get that first pick because obviously that first pick would mean Lonzo Ball. They obviously have something not against him, but they don't believe in D'Angelo Russell as being their starting point guard for the future because clearly if they have the option, they're going to pick Lonzo Ball. So if they were to get a D'Angelo Russell, a scoring shooting guard, which again you said can teach defense, he can be not as good as Avery Bradley, I don't think, but he'll be. They can teach him to be better at defense. He adds much better scoring, and you can get picks and or another player.
You're telling me this is all better than getting Paul George this season when they're first seed in the East. With getting Paul George, they could have definitely beaten the Cavs in the East. You're going to tell me that waiting another year, getting D'Angelo Russell, which the Lakers have off limits, by the way, you're saying that that's better than getting Paul George. Obviously, they value Markelle Fultz high enough where they would say, we are going to stand put, keep this pick, and take this kid first overall if we win the lottery.
Yes.
And I'm going to put it like this, hypothetically. They get first, they take Fultz. Phoenix goes second, they go Josh Jackson because they already have Eric Bledsoe and Devin Booker. LA gets third, they go Lonzo Ball. They get their guy, they don't have to give anything up.
Yes. I think they get more value if they trade down with the pick.
They're not going to trade down.
Even if they picked a player, picked up. Okay.
Here's my argument. How do you get more value than Paul George?
It's simple. Trading down to get players and picks.
But here's the thing.
Clearly,
you're getting
picks.
players who are not better than Paul George, first of all. Second, at this point in the season, which is the draft, the offseason, you already have a champion, instead of getting a player who can obviously help you win a title right away, like you're trying to do, you would just wait and just get more picks with uncertainty.
They have time to wait.
Well, they could have just won it now if they traded for Paul George.
You think that? Like, you believe that with the addition of Paul George, that would be the way to the finals?
They would have definitely won the East with Paul George.
Yeah, I can agree, but I think they're waiting, getting more talent, more picks, players.
Why wait when you can win now? Your best window of opportunity is now. If you're in the position to win now, you're the 1 seed in the East. You're winning now. You don't want to wait till the future because players age. Once players start aging,
players do age.
They get injured easily. They aren't as strong. They can't do as much anymore. So there's no point in doing what you're saying.
To be fair, we are talking about a span of 1 year. Do you think 1 year is an extremely big difference
Yes.
in terms of age? Who is leaving? Who is currently entering the free agency from the Celtics? If you know.
In the Celtics this season, they have mostly everyone under contract. And 2 seasons, you have Isaiah Thomas, Avery Bradley, Jay Crowder, all free agents.
I think they're
I think
Isaiah Thomas is going to command a $200 million contract.
And I think he'll get...
No, he definitely will.
something
But you're
close.
not going to bring back Avery Bradley or a Jay Crowder if he signs that contract. That's where you take Markelle Fultz, and he takes over Avery Bradley's
The
spot.
reason why Avery Bradley is so highly needed in that team is because of his defense. And I understand you saying Markelle Fultz is a two-way player. He can play defense and offense. But with Isaiah, yes, he is the point guard. He is the sole and top, not the sole scoring option, but he is the number one by far. They don't have a scoring option even close to him.
That's why Markelle Fultz adds another scoring option.
Why would they pick him when they can get a scoring option plus picks that they can use in future drafts that can even get players like a Paul George?
Like I said, if they're gonna do that, why wouldn't they have just traded for Paul George now?
Ask the Celtics.
Okay, so you're wrong. They value that pick extremely high.
Exactly.
This is where I'm telling you.
Exactly.
This is where I'm telling you that
on Lonzo Ball and Markelle Fultz. I understand. If they pick them, I think the best option were to either trade down or trade those players like Lonzo Ball. If they were to go trading down, obviously they trade down for somebody that they absolutely need. Honestly, I don't think Amir Johnson's that great. I think they can get a power forward, move him to Al Horford center or center to vice versa. But if we're to draft a player, I think they draft Lonzo Ball with number 1 pick.
All right, I'm gonna have to stop.
Too much.
I completely disagree.
There's too much.
I completely
I'm
disagree.
gonna have to stop right there. That was a very good argument. Very interesting. So let's move on to the third question. This is also about the NBA. Okay. All right. So, Rudy Gobert left game 1 with a sprain in his, I believe it was his leg or his hand. Yeah, his knee. Correct. Yeah. So he left the game with a sprain in his knee. Does this hurt their chance of a playoff run? Let's start with Pablo.
The Jazz won that game 97-95 after Joe Johnson hit a floater to win the game.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously it didn't affect them in this game. Long term, it could affect them because in the paint with the Clippers having DeAndre Jordan and Blake Griffin, you need somebody who can protect the paint. Rudy Gobert is one of the best shot blockers in the entire NBA.
I agree.
So obviously it's going to hurt them. Obviously losing any player at all at this point hurts your team regardless of who it is. Mm-hmm. So obviously we hope for the best for him to recover quickly so we can have a good matchup. Obviously it's already started off with a bang as the Jazz won 97-95 to take a 1-game lead over the Clippers. Mm-hmm. And we'll just see how it affects him going forward if he misses time or if he's good to go next game.
Yeah, I have to agree. I mean, losing anyone this close to the playoffs is hard to deal with, especially a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. We have to see how long the injury is. I don't know if they release a statement on how long the injury is going to last. They said it was going to last deep in the playoffs. Yeah. So I mean, I don't see anything happening for them. But yeah, I have to agree. Like, you can't disagree with that. I mean, it's going to be hard for them to move forward. In the recent, obviously, he's going to come back next season and be, productive, hopefully. But yeah, I mean, it's heartbreaking to see that this late in the year.
Good answers. So this actually leads me to my next question. Speaking about the Clippers, So I believe Chris Paul and Blake Griffin are entering their free agency year. Do you think it's the end of the Clippers' reign in a sense? And I also have an opinion I'd like to share. It's always the sense that the Clippers are the playoff, they're even the finals contenders. Many people believe that they're finals contenders every single year, but they never live up to it. I think I can compare it kind of to a Bengals in the NFL, but let's think about it in a sense of is it over for the Clippers? Do we know where Blake Griffin and Chris Paul are headed to? Let's start with Christian. Where do you think they're headed to?
The Clippers, I think their reign has been over. I mean, with the prominence of the Warriors coming out of the West, I mean, it's hard to obviously it's hard to compete. I mean, I'm not saying they couldn't compete, but I mean, they just can't. I think it's really hard, especially in the West. I mean, yes, they are the second best team in the West currently talent wise, but I mean, I think it's their reign has been over. I think how far they go in the playoffs.
I'm asking in a sense of after this season, is it likely that the Chris Paul and Blake Griffin will stay with the Clippers?
I mean, and you can go there. I think Blake Griffin.
Because there's rumors that he might go to the Heat,
Yeah.
but there's always rumors that
There's always rumors that. I think that can go either way. I think maybe they might. I think they might stay just because they might have a delusion that they could win the West. I honestly think there's absolutely. I know this is like tough to say, but I think they absolutely have no chance of coming out of the West in the finals. Absolutely, like anytime soon in their era. In the Chris Paul, Blake Griffin era, I think there's no chance they come out of the West. So I mean, whether they sign or not, that's not. I mean, that's the only question. I mean, the question if they go far in the playoffs, no. I think no. There's no way they come out of the West.
Pablo, your take on that?
Golden State, San Antonio, Houston, 3 teams in the West that are already better than the Clippers. The Clippers are going to re-sign CP3. That's basically a done deal.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a $200 million contract plus $200 million plus. Personally, I have Blake Griffin going to the Celtics like we just argued. They do need a power forward. You shift Al Horford to his natural position at the 5. That's where you also draft Markelle Fultz, def spot. Because if you are signing a Blake Griffin, which I am projecting, hot take, you're obviously giving him a big contract to win now. That's where you lose both Avery Bradley and Jay Crowder.
Mm-hmm.
You have to re-sign Isaiah Thomas that year. Avery Bradley, you're going to lose him to another team. 3-and-D players make a lot of money. Look at Chandler Parsons. He made about $22 million this year. Did absolutely nothing for the Grizzlies. So you draft Markelle Fultz, and you look at a team which in 2017-2018 would be Isaiah Thomas at the 1, Markelle Fultz at the 2, Jay Crowder at the 3, Griffin at the 4, Al Horford at the 5. That's definitely a team that you can win now with, depending on how Cleveland comes out next year, which Cleveland is what they should be is mediocre. To compare to they're like top of what they can do, which they've shown in the playoffs. When they beat the Warriors, they're an amazing team, but just in the regular season, they don't perform as highly as they should be. So that gives Boston another chance to try to steal the 1 seed from them again next season, and then give them a chance to compete in the playoffs. So definitely, I think CP3 returns to the Clippers because of the money that will be on the table, and Blake Griffin walks most likely to a Boston, maybe even Indiana, since they're also looking for a stud player to match with Paul George and Miles Turner.
Do you think that the Spurs and Houston are a better talent team than the Clippers? That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
I mean, you think the Spurs and Houston are a better talent team than the Clippers? Oh yeah, you're definitely wrong.
You have those 3.
There's no way. I mean, the Spurs and Houston are better play wise. They play better. They might end up with a better record. They might go farther in the playoffs. But talent wise, you have Chris Paul, the best, arguably in my personal opinion, the best pure point guard in this league today. You have Blake Griffin, all around talent. I mean, when he came into the league, obviously he was more of a banked as like a inside the paint presence. And then you have DeAndre Jordan, which is just athletically and defensively gifted. I mean, one of the best centers in the league, one of the best power forwards in the league. To me, the best pure point guard in the league. And you have Houston. And then you have the Spurs. How are they better?
You just named 3 guys, obviously, immense talent. But you look at Houston and San Antonio, they're just deeper. And when we're talking about talent, you can't just name 3 guys and say, yeah, they're more talented in that sense. You have to look at the entire roster. Basketball is a team sport.
I said talent.
Yes, I'm
There's
saying
way
talent.
more talent on the Clippers than on Houston or the Spurs.
No, there's not.
Okay, name me. I said talent. That's why I made 3 players because those are very talented players.
Okay, but you have to look at the
name me
entire
3.
roster.
I didn't say the entire roster.
But
I
I'm
said
saying
talent.
I'm
Okay,
saying
that's what
talent
you're
is based
saying.
off of the
That's what you're
entire
saying.
roster.
That's what you're saying. That's what I'm saying.
What do you
I'm
think
saying.
the talent's based off of?
Talent's more based off maybe your starting lineup and also just your help from your role
Star
players.
players. Star players make
I'd
talent.
say
I would
talent.
say the entire roster because
Okay,
basketball
That's
is a
okay,
team sport.
Okay, then I would say you're wrong. Name me more talented players that are on the Spurs that are on the Clippers.
Kawhi Leonard, LaMarcus Aldridge,
Tony Parker.
Tony Parker, Amanu. It's just extremely deep.
Okay, let's just compare position because around the same position, you're saying Tony Parker is as talented as Chris Paul.
No,
They're not even in the same stratosphere.
I think
LaMarcus Aldridge. I'm getting to them though. LaMarcus Aldridge.
Tony Parker has how many of these?
3 rings.
3 rings.
Did I say
Tony
who has more
Parker,
rings?
Chris Paul.
But that's not the argument.
No,
That's
When
not
I'm talking about talent. I mean, look at the whole thing. Tony Parker is one of the greatest international players ever.
Okay, how many rings does Kevin Durant have? How many rings does Brian Scalabrine have? Who has more talent?
But I mean, if we're gonna compare it like that.
I've never heard in my life.
You want to compare playoff production?
All right, but yeah, the same.
No, I'm not talking about Gabby. You're not getting the question.
You're going to the
saying
league. The whole
talent.
purpose of the league is to what? You go into a league.
Okay, I wish that was the question. The question was who has more talent on their roster? Houston, Spurs, or Clippers? Clippers, by far, have the most talent in the whole West other than the Warriors. By far, have the most talent on their team. If you're arguing any other team but them, you are wrong, confirmed.
Then I have a question
it's not even an
for
argument.
either both of you can answer this. Why do the Clippers not perform at finals contender level? They always seem to fall back and around maybe the quarterfinals sometimes.
Around right now.
Yeah, they just can't play together. I think they don't play together like the Spurs do, like Houston does, like obviously the Warriors.
Because they're teams that are better and deeper.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. The Western Conference is
it's so deep.
It's the best conference.
Like, exactly. It's
you have Houston, who was the third seed in the West, would have ran away with the first seed in the East.
No, no question. I think even even the 6th seed. Like I still think that Russell Westbrook, if he was in the East, he could definitely take 2nd seed, maybe even 1st seed.
Yeah.
If he led. I mean, this is all hypothetical, but let's say we switch around Westbrook with Isaiah Thomas. Do you think they take away the 1st seed?
I mean, Boston's not built for a player like Westbrook.
Mm-hmm.
That team's built more for a player like Isaiah Thomas.
Right.
So that's the situation. I mean, obviously Westbrook's phenomenal. The best player in this season. His stats provided, but obviously we're talking about records, so stats kind of get thrown out. Obviously, the Celtics would be a top seed. They'd be in the playoffs. Westbrook literally carried on his back the Thunder, even though they had a winning record when he was out in games he did not play in.
Yeah.
So that's just a difficult question when you say swapping around players, taking a player out, how they would be.
Yeah,
because you can't just look at it because teams are built around their stars. And, I mean, your stars make the players around you better. So it's kind of a hard argument to make.
I agree with you on just a little portion of it. I don't agree with. I think if Russell Westbrook were to plug into Boston, I think it would be like just hypothetical. Let's say where they were traded. Let's say both on the same team, just drop. Like hypothetical, I think it would take a couple games for Russell Westbrook to, adapt. But I think he'd play perfect in that role. I think him and Isaiah Thomas do have some differences, but I think it's more similar than different.
I see where you're coming from. So, you guys want to shift back into the main argument, or are you ready to move on to the
Let's move on.
Let's move on. So, this will be the last NBA question. Oh no, we still have 2 more. Excuse me. So, our website Sports Routes chose Kawhi Leonard in a vote of the main writers that he would win Defensive Player of the Year. Now that I start to look at it, I did write that section of the article. Do you guys agree with this claim? Christian, you can start.
I mean, yeah, I mean, in it's kind of like the LeBron James MVP voting. It's kind of like you if it were who's the most valuable, you got to give it to LeBron James every single year. I mean,
Right.
without him, the Cavaliers. It's not even a comparison. He's the most valuable player in the NBA.
Yeah, by
Clearly,
definition.
yeah, they're not going to give it to him every year. If it was like that, they'd give Shaq 5 in a row.
Exactly.
How dominant he was.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, yeah, Leonard Fournette probably deserves it. I don't think they'll give it
Kawhi
to
Leonard.
I mean, who did I say?
Leonard Fournette.
I mean, not Leonard Fournette. Yeah, I think Kawhi Leonard should deserve it. I don't think they're going to give it to him. I think they're going to give it to I think it's Draymond Green. I think Draymond Green maybe gets it. I mean, they could give it to Kawhi Leonard, but I think just off the fact that they don't want to give it to him every single year and make it that kind of thing. I mean, I think they give it to Draymond Green this year, undeservingly. I think Kawhi Leonard does deserve it, but I think Draymond Green gets it.
I do like that take. Go ahead.
Kawhi Leonard, 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. The Claw, known for his big hands. Definitely deserves to win it this year. I think he does again because it's just the thing of consistency with the Spurs.
Mm-hmm.
They've been top rated on defense the past 3 years. Just pure dominance. The type of dominance we've seen from J.J. Watt in the NFL. I definitely think he deserves to win this award again.
Mm-hmm.
And if the voters do not give it to him, then they're wrong.
I mean, yeah, I can agree, but I mean, I can't name how many players have won it 3 times, in a row.
Michael Jordan.
I mean, yeah, I know people have done it, but
Defensive Player of the
but I think I know Kawhi Leonard does deserve it, but I just have a feeling that they'll give it to Draymond Green. Or maybe it's not like a surefire thing they give it to Draymond. Maybe they give it to
Yeah, I definitely agree with what you said in the sense of LeBron James is definitely the most valuable.
It's called voter fatigue.
every single fatigue.
Definitely.
Voter fatigue.
No matter what team he goes to, he can make them a finals team. So let's go on to the final NBA question that I have, and then we're gonna start. We're gonna start giving them the questions to ask each other. I can participate in it, but I probably will just moderate. So this is probably one of the more interesting questions I have. Why do you think Eric Spoelstra deserves NBA Coach of the Year? Go ahead, Pablo.
I mean, obviously the case now is a little bit harder since the Heat unfortunately did not make the playoffs on the last day of the season.
Yes.
They ended 500 after being 11-30, and they completely shifted by going 30-11 after December. After I think December 13th, they went 30-11. They are the first team in NBA history to be 19 games under 500 and finish the season at 500. The last major difference was 12 games. They completely blew it away with 19. It's a culture, and Spoelstra obviously he should win it. He did a phenomenal job, but since they did not make the playoffs, you have to look at a guy like Brad Stevens. Obviously, the Celtics got the first seed. Obviously, Greg Popovich gets looked at every year. Steve Kerr. Scotty Brooks of the Washington Wizards, formerly of the Oklahoma City Thunder, led them to a 4 seed. And it's just these guys that you got to look at. If the Heat made the playoffs, however, Spoelstra would have been the front runner. I'm sure he's still going to be considered due to the great job he did with the Heat, but it's a long shot right now.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
I think why he mainly deserves a reward is, yes, obviously he's guided them to a good record, but I mean, like a good standing record. But I think it's more important to point out like the roster that they're working with. Like, I don't think people take enough credit. Yes, these players are doing good, but look what they did before the Heat. Like, look at Deion Waiters. Deion Waiters is now looking at a good career, a good solid career. He's playing very well. Obviously, people have been looking at his game winners and everything. I think, but look before his stats. Like, he's putting up career numbers now, like with the Heat. Look at Tyler Johnson. He's doing great. I mean, who heard of Tyler. They're picking up D League players. If I don't believe Hassan Whiteside was in the D League, right? They pick him up now. He's a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. I mean, I'm not saying obviously he's a great talent, but just to coach those people, just to coach those players that a lot of people might not have coached to this type of record. I think the way he's banding this team together and really helping them win is a great achievement. And I mean, to me, it's great that they're winning, but I mean, they could have gotten a high draft pick if they, would have done a little.
Yeah, that's definitely a bit of an implication.
I'm a Heat fan, and I'm going to say this. You only deserve to win awards in this league. If you win in this league, they did not make the playoffs, unfortunately. They do not deserve to win these awards. Maybe James Johnson does deserve to win Most Improved Player because that and Sixth Man of the Year, probably the two awards that Sixth Man of the Year and Rookie of the Year, probably the two awards that you don't really look on as a team success, but more as player success. So I do not think – I think Spoelstra could win it, but it's a long shot because in this league you have to win individual awards.
I can definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for answering my questions. Now I'm going to leave the conversation over to you guys. So Christian will ask the first question to Pablo, and he will ask to respond to it. And Christian can refute his argument. He's not going to present his own case. You're going to just argue what he said. Sounds good?
Well, my first question is kind of weird off topic. It's about the NFL draft. My question would be that what would be a couple perfect matches? What you can think of, very minimal, but what would be a perfect matching from player to team, like we saw with Ezekiel Elliott and the Cowboys? How would a great running back can do with a great line? What are perfect matchings? There fairy tale matchings that you can put from a player to a team.
Personally, I would say Forrest Lamp to the Miami Dolphins.
Okay.
They have a hole at guard, and they just moved Laramie Tunsil from guard to tackle, and they could match both of them up. They're both great blockers. They would make an impact together, and it would open up holes for J.J. Honestly, Christian McCaffrey to the Eagles is a very good one. You give Carson Wentz another receiving back with most likely Darren Sproles coming on the way out. I mean, for this question, it's easier to look at an offense than a defense because on defense, you plug in a player and they'll all make tackles and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I would say maybe Reuben Foster to the Bengals, put him alongside Vontaze Burfict. You have an extremely scary linebacker duo, or even Mike Williams or Corey Davis to the Bengals. To get a second receiver for A.J. Green, another weapon for Andy Dalton. And, yeah, those are some that could work out.
Yeah, that's why there's not much disapproval from my side, more because I'm not really focusing on where they'll be taking. So maybe if you said, let's say, if you said Mitch Trubisky to Cleveland, I wouldn't say, oh, that's a bad pick because it's going number one. I'm just saying the matchups. For me personally, I think the best matchup would be Steelers picking Deshaun Kaiser. So I know Big Ben Roethlisberger has a.
Really?
Yeah, I think Big Ben has shown how he might be leaving the door maybe as soon as next season, when next season's over. And I think that system allows a big-armed, mobile quarterback like a Big Ben and a Deshaun Kaiser to thrive. Because I don't think with their system they don't need that much accuracy, and that's been the major controversy surrounding Deshaun Kaiser is that his accuracy might not be the best out of any quarterback. In that system, it's not really needed. I think Big Ben's not the most accurate quarterback. He's a big-armed quarterback that can spread the ball around. I think Deshaun Kaiser can do that, mobile, big, and I think Deshaun Kaiser has proven that he can switch off many offensive schemes. So I think just 1 year under that team, learning the system would be just enough time to not skip. Just don't skip a beat for Big Ben's departure. I think as soon as he comes back, he can be an amazing starter. Just pick up what they left off.
I'm going to say with the same topic with the NFL draft. In the last NFL draft, we saw the Cowboys take Dak Prescott in the 4th round. Do you see any player who could have the same impact on a team if the starter were to go down taking a late round quarterback who could come in and change the dynamic of the entire team.
I think the late round quarterback that would be best here. I'm not gonna add a Patrick Mahomes, even though he could dip early second.
But I'm
possible.
not saying like
Yeah,
I'm not saying first or second day.
Yeah,
I mean a third day guy.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Third day guy. I mean, listen, they can always go in the second, but I think someone that's not really talked about as much as the main guys that could dip to third day is a Brad Kaya from Miami. I think he's out of the five I mentioned. Other than the five we mentioned, I think he's the best quarterback out of the five that no one's talked about. I think he's mobile. I think he has a good, accurate arm, decent arm. It's not huge, but it's decent. I think he has a lot of accuracy. I think he has the right mindset for a quarterback. I think there's no added pressure on him, so I think he doesn't have to perform right out of the gate and have all this pressure on him. I think he can ease into a starting role, like a Dak Prescott. Even though he should have eased in, he didn't. But what Dak Prescott should have done, I think he will do, and he'll be a great quarterback.
Where do you think he'll end up?
Team-wise or around?
I mean, it's obviously hypothetical, but where do you see him?
A team that could pick him up. I mean, I'm not talking about picks. I'm talking about the best matchup for him. I think maybe not the Texans. I'm thinking more of a.
I think it'd be more not in a sense of a random team.
Maybe a Minnesota. I like him at Minnesota. Someone with an old quarterback. I think like a Minnesota, maybe. It'd be perfect. Brad Kaya. I think Brad Kaya would be perfect for the Saints. I think Drew Brees, even though he says he can go to 45, I think he's got 2 more years left.
I mean, Kansas City, Alex Smith, if he goes down, I think Brad Kaya could fill that role.
Yeah.
He could be a complete game changer. They have a good offensive line. The thing with Kaya is I watch a lot of University of Miami, so I know this. When the pocket breaks down, he kind of struggles to make some throws in a clean pocket. He can make any throw. So obviously learning under a guy like Alex Smith, who's a fairly mobile quarterback, gets out of the pocket enough. He could learn there, so that's definitely a good fit for him.
Yeah. The only reason why I didn't put him I did thinking about that, but the only reason why I didn't put him is because I believe that they'll pick a quarterback this year that's not Brad Kaya. I think they'll pick. I think if the Browns don't pick him, I think they go with Deshaun Watson. I think Deshaun Watson is perfect for that scheme. If that'd be a Cinderella story if they were to pick him, have him learn under Alex Smith, which is he's aging, but he's not to the point where he's breaking down. I think Deshaun Watson, as Alex Smith, also like spreads the ball around. I think it'll be perfect in that system. That's why I didn't put him there. But
I mean,
that'd be a good fit too.
Kansas City lost Ntari Poe, so I'm sure they're gonna look at Malik McAdowell from Michigan State in the first round. So I don't think quarterback would be an option in the first round. Maybe later, maybe a Davis Webb, obviously, and Nathan Peterman from Pitt. But yeah,
I don't. To be honest, the only other than the 5 starting quarterbacks that I like in this draft are Dobbs and Kaya. I think those are the only 2 out of the. I think those are the 7 quarterbacks that will have a chance of making an impact.
All right. So next question.
Yeah, my next question is out of this draft class, who do you think has the most raw talent out of the whole draft class, offense, defense? Who has the most raw ability? And I'm not talking about like pro ready. I'm talking about raw talent, the tools that can make them a superstar in the league.
Like they won't be defined the first year, but definitely after a bunch of training.
Like a Miles, like obviously excluding Miles Garrett, like a big combine guy, like a guy that has all the tools, all the abilities, someone like that.
You'd like to respond to them?
Miami tight end David Njoku.
All right.
He's the go-to there. Definitely, like I said, I watch a lot of Miami games. I'm a University of Miami fan. He only had basically 1 season to show what he had. He's a former wide receiver. They moved him to tight end. He's a good blocker. University of Miami offensive line coach said that he was definitely one of their better blockers and he can hold up his own. Obviously, he's basically only had 1 year of training at tight end and he impressed everyone. He's a combine guy. He's a big physical guy who can run, catch, jump. He can do everything for you. Obviously, extremely raw. We have yet to see the best football from David Njoku. He has a lot to learn.
Yeah, that's a good pick, and obviously it's your opinion. I honestly, to me, the best talent in this draft is Patrick Mahomes. I think his arm strength and his ability to make plays outside of the pocket when the pocket breaks down, like you said, Kaya maybe has trouble with that. It's like Patrick Mahomes thrives into that, and understand it's kind of like the Johnny Manziel thing when he coming out of Texas A&M. That's why he was drafted. Not the sole reason. I mean, he had a great collegiate career, but his ability to make plays out of the pocket. People are comparing him to a Johnny Manziel mixed with Brett Favre. Like that's an insane combination. Yeah, just that saying that alone is insane. I mean, the guy's arm strength is insane. Like he threw, what was it, like 70, 80 yards like out of nowhere in the random practice. So imagine if you can. That's just automatic raw talent. I mean,
If you watch the tape on Mahomes, he forces a lot of balls. When he comes out of the pocket, he's not the best decision maker. So, and sometimes the arm strength goes against
I'm
you.
talking about raw talent.
Yeah,
Perfect
I'm
physical
saying, but I would have to say Njoku over him because Njoku is more what teams are looking for in tight ends now.
Mhm.
The kind of mold that Gronkowski has set. Njoku fits that. Obviously, O.J. Howard also fits that. But Njoku, in the right system, maybe not even in the right system, maybe in any system he'll thrive just because of the mold he is. He has decent hand. He had a fairly high drop rate for what teams would want to look at. But definitely, I could see Njoku going to like a Tampa Bay, excelling there. Maybe a Giants,
I can see
somewhere
that.
there.
The only reason why I disagree with you is that I don't think he has the most raw talent even in his position. I think O.J. Howard is a better skill player. Yes, I think he's also a better physical talent.
O.J. Howard isn't raw talent though.
You think
He's proven what he has.
Yeah.
He's proven what he has.
I think to me, O.J. Howard physically has more to offer than Njoku.
No, but he's not a raw talent.
Oh yeah, but if you're talking about a different.
If you're talking
talent,
about raw, it's something that we have yet to see. We've seen what O.J. Howard can do.
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying.
Njoku's been limited.
I know. I'm saying I'm talking about physically.
Oh, in a different
just
topic.
like I'm talking about.
But that wasn't really the question
No,
being asked.
I
but,
probably came out wrong. I mean, a physical how to compare him to somebody now? Somebody like that wows in the combine, but he could be the potential to be one of the best in his position. But
you're contradicting yourself. That's still not O.J. Howard because O.J. Howard has proven it on the field and on the combine, and Njoku still hasn't proven it.
I'm not saying it's people that don't have. It can be people that prove. I'm saying that.
Then that's not raw talent.
That's
not raw talent.
Calvin Johnson does have raw talent.
That's
Calvin
not raw
Johnson did not
talent.
have raw.
Well, I mean,
He
was
raw
proven.
talent.
Yeah, you prove it.
You can have.
It was
you
proven.
Can be proven and have raw talent.
No, you can't. That's a contradiction.
How?
Because raw talent is something that we have yet to have seen.
You don't talk about raw talent as a physical specimen. They are better than most people coming out of the draft. That's what I mean by raw talent.
No, they're proven. O.J. Howard's a proven guy.
I have to agree.
And comparing it with Calvin Johnson, Calvin
I don't
Johnson's
think
a
I'm
proven
saying.
guy
I
also.
think there must be a better way. I might be saying. I'm talking about a physical raw. I'm not talking about you have to be not produced to the level as others to have a raw talent. I'm talking about physically, like a physical specimen. Let's say Myles Garrett didn't perform as great as he did in his collegiate career. He's a physical specimen, a raw. That's what I might. Okay, let me say raw talent. A physical specimen. I'm talking about the raw tools. Who has the most tools? That's what I'm saying.
It's still Njoku over Howard. Because, I'm going to tell you why. Because we've seen O.J. Howard's entire skill set at play at Alabama using his physique as a red zone receiver. We didn't really see much of that with Njoku at Miami.
Exactly.
So
I still think even if he were to prove it, he still wouldn't put the production of O.J. Howard. I'm not trying to say production. I'm saying even if we're just saying both raw physical talent, O.J. has more physical raw talent.
It's not physical raw talent. He's proven his physicality in games.
Take the proven part out. I think we're talking about two different.
It's not
discussions.
proven because it's already on the film. It's
I think
something
this
you've
is
seen.
a matter
Okay,
of just
I think
how he worded it.
Yeah,
But
I must have worded it.
Definitely, I think raw talent also has to do with the fact that you're a young player. You still haven't really developed into the NFL level. This is just my take on it. You're just not like this. Also goes back to our argument about who's the most NFL ready. But I think all these players do come in a sense of raw talent. They've yet to have shown who they truly are. Maybe Myles Garrett has. He showed that he's the most pro ready. But like we said, we're going to try to exclude him from the conversation. So, but this is all just a matter of wording. I will have to agree with Pablo on this one, though. It was kind of contradictory what you said.
I must have worded it wrong. I meant like physical, I meant physically, like the most physical specimen. I'm not talking about like production. Nothing. I'm taking the production out.
But you can't use a hypothetical in this sense because we know what we've seen on the
game.
game.
Take that out of your mind.
You can't just take what's on the film out of your mind.
Combine.
You're gonna put the combine over games. Over an actual game.
I think many scouts do.
I think you're misunderstanding what I'm saying. I'm talking about physically most athletic. Like not because I can't say it like that. I'm saying the physical tools. Like how about this? If O.J. Howard and Njoku were to completely stop, let's just say they were both wipe the slate cleats in football. Who has the most physical talent to do better in the NFL? I mean football in general. If you just wipe the skill clean. O.J. Howard.
O.J. Howard's faster, but Njoku has a higher vert, a longer long jump, benched more, and we just saw him jump out at the combine. And the only thing that I'm pretty sure that O.J. Howard did better than him was the running.
But then you're kind of contradicting yourself. Maybe I'm not understanding this correctly, but you're saying that when he jumped out in the combine, that was in his. That's not what scouts were looking for. Like what we just.
No, that's raw talent. That is raw talent.
Coming out from the combine.
I'm just comparing the physical.
But it's
stats.
Compared to what's
O.J.
proven
Howard
already.
is 6'6". Okay, has an arm length of 33 inches and three. It's basically 34. Okay, he is 251 pounds and hands are 10 inches long. Okay, then Njoku is 6'4", 10 inches long, about 6 pounds, 4 pounds lighter. He has longer arm reach, whatever. He ran a 4.64, 4.46. O.J. Howard almost ran a 4 in the 4.4s. As a tight end that's tall.
He ran a 4.51.
4.51, I'm saying almost 4s.
That's a 4.5.
Yeah, just say.
4.51.
Right.
That's still way faster than Njoku. He's taller, he weighs more. Same hands, 2 inches arm strength. You said reps on the bench press? O.J. Howard did one more rep than Njoku.
Yeah, I was wrong.
Okay, let's do vert jump.
All right,
vert jump. O.J.
I'm talking
about. Njoku did destroy the vert jump.
I'm talking about what we've seen on film, because NFL is not workout warriors.
No,
exactly. But you didn't understand the question. It's not I'm wrong. It's you didn't understand it.
You phrased it wrong.
Okay, I phrased it wrong.
The NFL is not workout warriors. We're not doing Iron Man. We're not doing any of those things to check out physicality. We're seeing what they can do on the field.
Yeah.
We have seen a limited amount from David Njoku, so we just have to wait and see. Obviously, some people believe that Njoku rushed his decision. He had a huge year at Miami, but we still have more to see. That's where it's a raw talent. While O.J. Howard, we've seen what he can do. He was used a lot in the Alabama offense, and that's where the argument lies. A raw talent like an Njoku is a player that we have limited amount of film on, that we have yet to see what they can do.
You're still arguing the wrong argument. That's the wrong argument.
I'm gonna have to.
Let's move on.
We're moving on.
Wait, you didn't ask.
We're moving on.
You didn't answer the question.
We're moving on. We're running out of time. We're moving on.
You didn't answer the question.
No, we're gonna move on. I'm sorry, Christian.
You were answering the wrong question.
You just worded it wrong.
So
okay, then I worded it correctly. You understood it. Now answer the question.
You haven't fixed anything.
What did you try?
Okay, you understood the question because you said he has more bench press. Okay. Who has more physical, raw talent?
It wouldn't be physical, raw talent. The question would be which player is more physical and which of their physicalities would translate better in the NFL game. That's what the question would be. It wouldn't be raw talent. It wouldn't be raw talent.
Okay. Who has more physical ability?
There, that's the question.
Okay, answer the question.
They're both unique in what they do.
Okay, I wish that was the answer to the question.
That is the answer to the question.
Okay, let's just do it because you said Njoku was wrong. Okay, who's more physical? Njoku or OJ Howard?
I'm going to say it like this. You're comparing a Gronkowski and a Travis Kelce.
Okay.
Gronkowski, more physical, better tight end. But you still want a Travis Kelce who's an amazing athlete and can still perform.
All right.
All right. I wish that was the question.
That is the question.
Let's answer
though.
the question.
We're moving on.
No,
We're moving
you
on.
gotta
This
answer
question.
the question.
Continue.
We're moving on.
All right. So
Next question.
I need you to come up with
All right,
one more
you're on.
question, and then I'm going to ask you your own individual question. So either Pablo can come up with a question or Christian can come up.
No, it's my question. You're up.
All right. Could be about the NBA.
We've barely talked about wide receivers in either podcast. Is there any second round wide receiver that we could see who has the same impact as Jarvis Landry had with the Dolphins?
Well, I think a lot. I think there's two main ones. I think there's, I don't know if I'm pronouncing his last name wrong, Juju McCluster. And D.D. Westbrook. I think those two are running backs that could possibly go in the first
Wide
second round.
receivers.
Wide receivers that can go in the second round. Most likely go in the second. I don't see them going in the first, clearly, but second round wide receivers that could have as much impact as a Mike Williams, Corey Davis,
John
or
Ross.
John Ross. I think they could have as much impact. Maybe not. I don't like Mike Williams, honestly. I don't think his skill set translate as much as a Corey Davis or John Ross.
Can you give me a comparison for Mike Williams? What do you think he can translate to?
Mike Williams, big body wide receiver.
Mike Evans?
Not Mike Evans. I would go more with probably a former Clemson wide receiver, possibly a Sammy Watkins. Not as dynamic, but the ability to go up, get the ball, reliable hands, fast guy, smart wide receiver, has the ability to get open, has the ability to make catches in coverage, breakaway speed, obviously. And since they both played at Clemson, you get basically the same learning there, the same body of work, obviously. Definitely both. Sammy Watkins was a first rounder. This kid's definitely going to be a first rounder. There are rumors that Buffalo could even be looking at him also due to their lack of depth at wide receiver. But to add to what he said, along with Juju Smith-McCluster, and D.D. Westbrook, you obviously can look at a guy like Cooper Kupp, who's a big wide receiver who can make any catch, huge catch radius, a very impressive wide receiver, very impressive body of work, who could fall and a team could really use his skill set. Very talented player. Went to a small school.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll just see what he can do.
With Mike Williams, it's a matter. I don't believe that he can get. I don't know how to say it, an NFL separation. I think separation is really big in this league when you have athletic corners.
You mean
that are
translating
Yeah.
the skill into the NFL?
Yeah, the translating separation because separation is a big deal. That's why we have fast receivers that thrive, like a Brandon Cooks, like a John Ross. That's what his potential is, to get enough separation, just the long ball and you snag it. I think Mike Williams, I don't think his 50-50 ball talent to get those big balls, I don't think that would translate like it did in the collegiate level. I think a Corey Davis would be a better wide receiver ahead of him because I think his route running and his speed is just. I think his route running is far past Mike Williams. I think that's what the modern NFL really needs.
More speed.
Yeah, just a more speed, more route running wide receiver.
Right,
You just named two slot receivers in
Yeah.
John Ross and Brandon Cooks. Mike Williams, big body receiver, go up and catch the 50-50 balls. If you watch his tape versus Alabama, there's his top flight corners at Alabama
fast.
and Ohio State also. That
Yeah.
game, those Lattimore and Conley, both first round guys. Clemson beat them, did a phenomenal job. Mike Williams, the main target for Deshaun Watson and Clemson. He can get the 50-50 balls. It all depends who's lining up in front of him in practice. Obviously, if he goes to a Buffalo, you have a Ronald Darby, who's a physical corner who can help him learn separation.
Yeah.
You just have to remember that practice makes perfect.
Yeah.
In most situations, you can teach some of these things, the little football things. Obviously, physical skills you can't teach.
Yeah.
We're coming back to the OJ Howard and David Njoku thing where I say they're both unique physical talents because you can't teach these things. I have to agree with you on that. You can't teach height either. Mike Williams, 6'3", 6'4", tall.
I think he's a 6'3". I think he's a 6'3".
He has a huge catch radius.
Yeah. But what is Williams? He doesn't offer as much as a Corey Davis. So with a Corey Davis, you have the same height. He's 6'3", a little lighter. He has. Mike Williams has amazing hands. He has sure hands, but he's kind of not a one trick pony, but his 50-50 ball skill is really what is elevating him to the top. I think Corey Davis can get those 50-50 balls, not as well as Mike Williams, but I think he can also add a route running aspect that is just.
My argument here is to wrap it up. Last thing I have to say. The difference between Corey Davis and Mike Williams is we've seen Mike Williams do it against the best of them. Corey Davis went to Western Michigan, so that's a smaller school. That's a MAC school. And then you have Mike Williams at Clemson, ACC, national champions, doing it against Alabama, Ohio State, FSU. Just big name schools with big name corners. We've seen him produce. That's the biggest argument. That's what teams are looking at. That's where that's where film and mixed with combine and all that is taken into consideration in a draft room. And I think you would have to give Mike Williams the edge, mostly because we've seen him produce against top flight NFL ready corners.
Yeah, my only argument is, Corey Davis didn't play against the top caliber of corners that maybe or defenses that maybe Mike Williams played, but. I don't think defense. That's why whoever picks Corey Davis isn't really banking on his 50-50 ball skill. They're banking on his route running, his obviously his sure hands.
You're banking on his talent.
Yeah, he has physical abilities that Mike Williams has. I don't know what he ran in the 40, but if you watch the tape, he looks faster. Mike Williams might have better hands slightly, but I think his 50-50 ball skill won't translate nearly as it did in the collegiate level. I think that if you have to add something more to your arsenal than just a 50-50 ball, I think he doesn't create the separation to add anything else. I don't think he can take the top off of defense, even though he has that 40-yard speed, that 40-yard dash speed clearly showed a 4.53 or 4.51, I remember. Yeah, he shows the speed in the 40, but I don't think his separation doesn't translate. I think he doesn't have the same game speed as he does dash speed, I think he just adds one element.
Okay.
One last thing I have to say, not relating to this, but overview. David Johnson of the Arizona Cardinals was the number 1 ranked wide receiver by Pro Football Focus. That will play major role in McCaffrey's stock, obviously, projected top 10 pick. Having a running back ranked number 1 with all wide receivers, better than Odell Beckham Jr., Julio Jones, Antonio Brown, leads to believe that Chris McCaffrey's stock is on the rise and still rising.
Perfect. So these will be your individual questions that I ask at the end. No one will refute this. You will just answer it as your own. Since Christian started off first with the questions, so Pablo will start with the individual questions first. So, Pablo, what do you believe is the most competitive NBA award? Meaning something that's always changing, something that's always hotly debated in the sense of it's always different. It's always something, you get what I mean? It's always something that needs to be, I don't know if I'm explaining this right, but
obviously
the most competitive, you mean?
Most competitive, yeah.
Right, because the way you were asking it, the answer would have been Rookie of the Year because you have new rookies every year.
Yeah, no,
so most competitive,
right? Yeah.
So most competitive would probably be, obviously MVP.
Yeah.
Highly debated because you see players improve their stats every year and mean more to a team than they did the year before. Obviously, the James Harden argument is last year they barely made it in as an 8th seed. This year, under Mike D'Antoni's system, they are now 3 seed. Obviously, the Thunder last year were 3 seed, now 6 seed with the departure of Kevin Durant. But before the season even started, the Thunder were projected to have a very high lottery pick. Mm-hmm. And then Westbrook took that team over. Obviously, Mr. Triple-Double. So definitely MVP because it changes every year who steps up for their team widely. Obviously, you always have basically the same guys, but how they step up. I mean, I would say behind that maybe six man of the year because every team's six man, someone produces more than the other, and that's more of a stats category than an impact category like MVP would be.
All right, so now I'm going to ask Christian's question. Your question is the final one of the night before we sign off. How do you feel about the Dolphins taking Jabril Peppers? Do you think it would be ideal for the Dolphins to take him?
I just like Dalvin Cook. I don't like Jabril Peppers. I think his versatility will stay and only translate in the collegiate level. I think only a team maybe as smart and knowledge aspect, maybe the Patriots could maybe do something with him. If they were to put him, I think he'd be a good player on the Patriots because I think they're more advanced than every other team in the NFL. I think they can find a way to use him. I think Bill Belichick would have a blast having Jabril Peppers. I think on any other team, he cannot do anything because he doesn't have the ball hawking ability to be a good safety, and I don't think he has the size or I don't think he has the hit power of a pure linebacker. I think he has to choose one or the other. I think he chose safety to be recognized in the draft. He could maybe a strong safety if he doesn't have the hit power of a pure strong safety like how they see Jamal Adams. I don't think Jamal Adams has the right hit power for that either. I don't think they're both good at that talent. I don't think he has the ball hawking ability to be a free safety, nor the hit power. I think if he'd be a free safety, if he learned how to pinpoint the ball better in the air, I think he'd be a great free safety because of his hit power. A lot of free safeties don't really carry that type of power of like a linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
I just see like maybe a Landon Collins, but Landon Collins has great ball skills, so I don't think he'll translate to the NFL.
The one thing I have to say about Landon Collins coming into the draft, he was known more as a hitter than as a ball hawk. He kind of developed that later on, so we could see that also with some of these prospects.
Yeah, but I think he showed more collegiately. But yes, ball skills, yes.
No, he did not.
Jabril?
Oh, then Jabril, yeah, but I'm saying general,
I didn't say he showed a lot. I said he
weak.
showed more than Jabril. Jabril doesn't really show that much volume collegiate level because he did play linebacker for a little bit.
Good. All right, guys. I'm Jordan Artzy. I'm joined by Christian Douglas and Pablo Rosero. We're going to sign off for our second episode. Thank you so much for listening. Make sure to follow us on. Make sure to like us on Facebook. Make sure to follow us on Instagram. Make sure to follow us on Twitter as well. And make sure to check out sportsroots.com as always for great in-depth analysis. Thank you so much. Have a great night.
Let's go Panthers.
Now I have to edit that.